Hello and welcome to another episode in my New York series from the trip that I made there in May and early June of 2022 to visit my friends and family for the first time since making the permanent move to live in the Philippines. In this episode, I wanted to share with you one of my favorite spots here in Brooklyn, where I grew up and lived for almost 30 years. Coney Island, a neighborhood in South Brooklyn, has a long history as one of the biggest attractions in all of New York City, and I hope that you can appreciate what it represents today, that being a great example of what it looks like when the city makes a real effort to preserve a part of its more colorful history. This day was spent hanging out with my best friend Igor and his wife Kate. They also live in Chipset Bay, just a short walk from my mom's house, where I've been staying during the visit to New York. Our destination wasn't far, but it did take a few stops on the Q train to get there. Taking the train to the last station, we see a large convergence of several different lines, being a hub near the southern tip of Brooklyn. Before heading to the theme parks though, we needed to get some food. I passed by this place countless times before, but this was only the first time that I actually had a chance to eat here. I definitely have my friends to thank for that. What a better way to start our adventure here in Brooklyn than some local pizza. There is really nothing better than having some good pizza and good beer to share with your closest friends. The 150 or so year history of these parks go back to the time that this was actually an island, before becoming connected to the mainland of South Brooklyn through major land reclamation in early 20th century. And over the following decades, this place certainly had its ups and downs. But luckily, the local communities here decided to, in early 21st century, to start a successful revitalization project to bring back the joys of summertime, fun, action, and adventure that Coney Island was so famous for. Now it's time to enter the park. Maybe it wasn't the best idea filling up on food and alcohol right before going on one of the most legendary roller coasters that can be found anywhere. As a disclaimer, I feel absolutely terrible that I didn't bring a wrist strap for my camera to record the ride, but then, as you can see here, that was highly discouraged anyway. This is not just one theme park, but a set of several parks all connected to each other by the beach boardwalk. In fact, Coney Island, not really an island by the way, but a peninsula, is famous for having some of the oldest theme park and attractions that are still in operation anywhere in the world. Two of the biggest ones being the Cyclone, a legendary wooden roller coaster built all the way back in 1927, and the world-famous Wonder Wheel that celebrated its 100-year anniversary just recently in 2020. And you will see way more of that if you stick around. Of all the entrances to these parks, these gates here were really the way to go. But at night, it looks way more exciting. More of that in the preview towards the end of this video. The attractions reached a historical peak during the first half of the 20th century. However, they declined in popularity after World War II, and following years of neglect, several structures were torn down. The origin of Coney Island's name is disputed, but the area was originally part of the colonial town of Gravesend. By the mid-19th century, it had become a seaside resort, and by the late 19th century, some early amusement parks have already been built in this location, including some of the very first what would be considered a prototype of a roller coaster of the day. There were various redevelopment projects that were proposed for Coney Island in the 1970s all the way through the 2000s. And though most of these plans never really got anywhere, the area was eventually brought out of a planned demolition, and instead of being redeveloped into a new and expensive waterfront condos, the opening of the MCU Park in 2001 for the newly reformed Brooklyn Dodgers baseball team, and several modern amusement rides starting in the 2010s. Now, this area welcomes on average more than 5 million people each year to visit the long stretch of the Coney Island beach. Countless places to eat, and of course, the theme parks such as the Luna Park, being the biggest of these, and Deno's Wonderland, just to the side of it. Unlike many other theme parks around the country, admission to these is free. You just have to pay for each individual ride. Or you can get a special pass that will allow you to get on as many rides as you can manage in about 4 hours. And then of course there were the arcades. Seems like this industry has been kind of dying out over the past couple of decades already, but there's really something special about going to a place like this to play some video games of yesteryear and even some of the modern ones, because the VR machines are really in full swing right now. The kind of technology that they bring about is really next level. Yeah, just don't do what he did and put on a public headset without wiping it out first.
No.
The Phoenix roller coaster is definitely by far the hottest roller coaster out of the modern ones that they have over here. Unfortunately, I have yet to try this one out. Ever since these parks came into being, these kind of shooting galleries have always been very popular. I actually remember when my dad was alive, when I was a little kid, he was teaching me how to shoot a rifle over here in one of these stands. Don't remember which one exactly it was though. It was much too long ago. Honestly, walking around these roller coasters and other fun attractions was an even more nostalgic experience than I could have expected, and brought back so many nice memories from the times that I used to come here when I was a kid growing up in Brooklyn. But this is where I'm going to close out this video. I ended up coming back here with my friends Igor and Kate at another date about a week or so apart from this one, but much later in the day, which had the whole neighborhood lit up by a flood of bright lights, changing the whole mood and making the theme parks feel like they were transported to a whole different world. What you see now is just a short preview of the next episode to come, which should be a simpler production than this video, but I do hope that you will come back to enjoy it when it's ready. In the meantime, if you enjoyed this video, please hit the like button and go ahead and leave a comment. Anything short and simple will be highly appreciated. Also, please subscribe to my channel if you haven't already, and hit on the bell icon to get notifications when I post something new. Always take care of yourselves and each other, and of course, keep looking out for more fun and exciting videos coming at you from the Time Lapse Traveler.